What's good, boys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Caleb Fultz, also known as CF3. I'm a wide receiver here at the University of Mount Union. Today, I'm sitting down with my teammates, Jose, my man Jose, DJ No Way.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir, baby. I'm asking 15 questions that I have, mostly ChatGPT, but also some I came up with. Love ChatGPT. So this is me just testing out my equipment for the Bench to Mike podcast, bench_2_Mike on Instagram if you guys are interested. That'll be coming around Thanksgiving. So let's dive into the questions. But Jose, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good today. Just got off of a nap, so I'm refreshed. I'm good.
Heck yeah, I love to hear it, man. Power naps are always good.
Always.
First question, Jose. How did you start playing football?
Started a lot later than most. Officially started playing football when I became a freshman in high school. It was kind of just a thing where I was like, well, after moving around a little bit from my mom being in the military, my mom told me that I was going to spend all 4 years of my high school career at the one high school that I was at, so I didn't have to worry about moving around too much, so I was going to be pretty stable. So I was like, well, if I'm going to be pretty stable, I might as well try a sport out, and see if I can get good at it, or just, do something to just keep myself going, like being active, I should say. So kind of just tried it from there and just been doing it ever since.
So it was really just like a boredom thing, or like just keep busy thing?
I mean, my mom was talking to a guy at the time. So the boyfriend of my mom at the time, he was a big football guy. He played football back in college himself. So he kind of, I wouldn't say peer pressured me, but he kind of put the interest in my head as well. He was like, why not just try it out? Didn't really have an interest in too many other sports. I mean, if I were to play anything else, it might have been like basketball or something. I kind of have like the build for it. A little bit skinnier kid, a little bit shorter, a little bit quicker. So maybe could have done that. But yeah, man, just stuck with football. I knew a little bit about football. I played Madden too. So during that time, I think I was pretty big in playing Madden. So I knew a little bit about football. So I had an interest in it.
This might be a race thing, but like, why not baseball?
Why not baseball? I played baseball for a long time when I was younger, and where the love came from that was my dad. He played in the minor leagues a little bit. My dad, he's from the Dominican Republic, so baseball is a really big thing over there, especially in a lot of Latin countries. But kind of once my parents split up, the love for baseball wasn't as large as what it once was. And so I kind of wanted to go down my own path. My mom still kept me in sports, like recreationally. She said, if you still want to play baseball, soccer, basketball, I did all those things recreationally. But when I actually wanted to sit down and like try something for a school, because that was my first time ever playing a sport for an actual like school, like a school team. Everything else before that was all rec. So I was like, I'll just do football.
Okay. Next question. What made you decide that you wanted to pursue college football?
It wasn't until my senior year of high school playing football. Up until then, I didn't get any playing time until I was a senior in high school. Maybe here and there, maybe a couple of spurts would touch the field, like if we were up, a lot, but yeah, and until my senior year of high school, I didn't really touch the field. Once I became a senior, I became the number 2 receiver for my high school. So I was kind of needed to be, a leader. I was needed to be that other guy aside from, the guy who was in the number 1 spot as a receiver. So it wasn't until then that I realized kind of the success that I was having that I could potentially just try at least, because there was definitely a lot of people, maybe weren't directly in my ear, but around me, that were saying probably that I wasn't good enough to play college football. And for the most part, they probably would have been right, because I didn't start playing. I didn't actually start playing until I was a senior, so I didn't really have too much to go off of. But I knew my body, I knew my capability, I knew what I could do. And with the type of film that I had, I knew it was good enough to where I could play somewhere. I knew I wasn't just some type of like scrub. So whoever was willing to give me the shot, give me the opportunity. Whoever wanted to give me a visit, I was more than willing to take it, and I was going to show them that I was going to give it my all. So,
Well, I think you know this, but I watched your huddle highlights for YouTube video.
Yeah.
I was clowning on you and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I mean that video was just kind of a joke.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I did notice is that you were just kind of like a raw athlete. Like you're an athlete, but like I also noticed like your fundamentals were all there.
Mm-hmm.
But like watching you play now, like I said this in the video as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like you have such good fundamentals, I feel like, and also watching your work ethic, I feel like you really came together. I mean, obviously I can't speak for high school, but in terms of watching you play in college, like you have the fundamentals down compared to what I saw in your high school film.
Mm. And a big part of that too, I will give a lot of credit to my high school coach as well, my high school receivers coach. That was probably the biggest thing that he would hammer into us every day at practice, whenever we were working out during the summers. And I just knew for me is, like I said before, I didn't start playing until a lot later than everybody else. I'm not coming from a population of maybe somewhere like more down south, maybe like Florida, or even here in Ohio, where football culture is so huge. Where I was at in North Carolina, by the way, shout out to Ville, shout out Fayetteville, North Carolina, shout out to all my dogs, 216. But I was coming from an area where it was like, unless you've been playing for such a long time your whole life, you had to figure it out quick, how you were going to be better than everybody else or how you were going to get a leg up. And I just knew for me is I was able to understand the fundamentals of route running. I think, for myself, I think that's the biggest thing that I have a leg up on most people is I understand how to run routes. I understand how to now, like we said, I'm not the greatest athlete in the world. I'm not over here, breaking down on the dime or, running as fast as maybe a couple of these other guys, but I can get open. So if I understand how to do those fundamentals pretty well, I'm able to do something for myself. So yeah, definitely it was hammered into me really early on that you got to be able to understand the fundamentals of your position to at least get somewhere.
I absolutely agree, and I feel like that definitely shows in terms of like when you do get in the game. I know he's behind Wayne Ruby right now. This guy's back at Wayne Ruby, but I think you're like TJ's favorite receiver. Because every time I talk to TJ about how he did in the game, because there's times where you guys got against Capital, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know any other games. What were the other games? Was it Muskingum? You guys got in together?
Yeah, against Muskingum. Yeah, that was my first official varsity catch. Yeah,
I feel like TJ's like that's like you're your go-to guy.
Mm-hmm.
And also the freshman, is it Jackson?
Jackson, yeah.
Jackson, I feel like he slings the ball a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely noticed that as well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely props to both of those guys. Both of them have their own strengths, most definitely. But when we're talking about TJ, he definitely voiced his opinion to me very early on, especially after that first catch. Scrambling outside with him that he appreciated. Kind of not just, within just a play, obviously, if you're scrambling and whatnot, you appreciate a guy who's giving a little bit of extra effort, but he voiced his opinion to me very early on that he realized quick that me and him kind of have the same ideals, so I appreciated TJ for that, yeah. Yeah,
TJ's a really good guy.
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed him earlier, so if you guys want to go back and watch that video. All right, so next thing is, I don't know how to word this, but during spring ball, you told me that that when I line up on the ball, a lot of DBs or defenders, linebackers, whatever, they're going to underestimate me. I'm a tall, skinny white dude, and I honestly need to take that to an advantage. And I need to find an advantage in that within, okay, you're going to underestimate me, like I'm going to like be better than you. I'm going to find a way to win the situation. So I want to ask, like, what do you think people view it, like what's your version of that in terms of like you line up on the ball, what are people saying, what are people thinking? I just kind of like, you said it to me during spring ball, and like that really made me think of like what can I do to beat the DB when he's thinking that about me. And like honestly, one of the big things I did during fall camp before I got hurt was I guess just the push release is one of the big things. I just love putting my hands into a DB's chest and trying to get open. Like I gotta be more physical, because if you think I'm just some soft white kid, then like I gotta best, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. I guess my thing is, thank you for telling me that, but also like what's your version of that, you think?
Yeah, most definitely. That's the biggest thing too with lining up as a receiver. We know that once we're getting onto the ball and we're lining up against the guy across from us, DBs naturally, it's always said that a good DB is like type of mentality. Because they have to believe that they're the best. They have to believe that they're the most confident person on that field at all times and that they're going to best the receiver. So with knowing that, I know that he's going to come after me and attack me in any type of way possible. And I already know that he's most likely going to try to pick apart whatever weakness that he can find within me. So I think for me, early on when I was playing is, I was a little bit more scrawnier of a kid too. I really didn't start lifting until maybe my sophomore year of high school. So up until that point, I was a Bambi-ish type of player. I was kind of just all over the place, learning my own footwork, learning how my body moves. And I think that's a big piece of advice that I would tell not just a lot of young receivers, but just a lot of young athletes in general, is before you sit here and try to stress about everything that goes on, within your sport and everything that goes with it, figure out how your body moves and figure out how to learn how you can make yourself become the best player within that. And I think the best thing, I gave you this piece of advice too one time, is you want to sit there and you want to watch videos of guys that you can relate to. Somebody that I felt that I could relate to with the strengths that I had was like a Devontae Adams type of player. Not to sit there and say I'm part of that upper echelon, because Devontae Adams, I think, is one of my favorite receivers, not just in the NFL, but of all time. I realized that he wasn't the quickest, he wasn't the fastest, but that man could get open, and he understood one-on-one matchups, and he knew how to run routes. Okay, I understand I'm not the quickest, I'm not the fastest, but if I can sit here and, get to a different guy, get to the DB's leverage, get to his butt, get in his blind spot, make him feel like I just, did some type of magic trick. Oh, I was here at 1 second and now I'm not. I can get open. And then from that point on, it was just from me catching the football. So it was having to learn what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses. Now, you're asking me what my weaknesses were. I think one of my greatest weaknesses that have been just for a long time, and this is the biggest part about being a receiver, is catching the football. You can't be a wide receiver if you can't catch football. The big thing that you'll hear is it's like, oh, that receiver can't catch, put him to DB. So I'm still working to that to this day, and it's a thing that a lot of people, I think, that maybe don't know the position or maybe don't know too much about football will take for granted. Learning how to catch the football at an efficient rate and at a high rate isn't necessarily easy, because you'll sit there and you'll overthink it sometimes, or maybe you didn't focus too much on the point of the ball, or hand placement, hand-eye coordination is a huge thing, and you got to train yourself for that. So that was something that I had to strengthen, and I think my biggest way of combating that is I had to change the level of confidence that I had. When it comes to catching the football, you got to be confident. You got to be confident within not just your one-on-one matchup, but if that ball's thrown your way, you're catching it on the guy guarding you. There can't be a moment in time at all to where that confidence slips away, that you don't think that the ball that's thrown to you isn't catchable. If you're a receiver, you got to think that every ball is catchable. Now, there's some instances where maybe it's overthrown, or it was a bad ball by the quarterback got pressure or something. It's a completely different story. But my mentality going into it now is if a ball is thrown to me, it's catchable, and I have to catch it at all times.
I mean, that's a great mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, that was my problem in high school, is I would just I'd be open, but I'd always overthink catching it.
Mm-hmm.
I went 3 for 7 my senior year. That was a big problem. I had 4 balls in my hand. I just overthought it. But I think now in college I'm so insecure about my route running and about getting open. It's if the ball does hit my hands, I'm most likely going to catch it. I didn't have a problem at all during fall camp, or even when I did get in during spring ball for that last practice. Every time a ball hit my hands, I caught it. But it was more just beating that DB, getting open, letting the QB throw me the ball, I guess getting separation, getting space. That was my biggest problem for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my anxiety and my insecurities just kind of shifted to that. So I'm not sure if you relate to that at all, but that's just kind of how I am.
Because I had trust me, in that process of learning how to run routes, it's learning how to get open. There's a bunch of different steps, to running a route. You have the release at the line, you have the stem, of the route, whether you're working, vertically or, down through, across the line, whether it's like a drag or something like that. Maybe you have to stair step a guy, to get him off of you. Then you got the top of the route. Then you got maybe coming back to the ball, maybe on something like a razor or a curl. So there's a lot of different facets to running a route. And, like you're saying, there's an anxiety part to it. If maybe you don't have the right plan in mind. And that was another thing that I had to learn too from great receivers such as Devontae Adams. I know there was one video that I would watch on repeat, and he was just saying, when he gets up to a line, he has like 3 different plans for what he's going to do based upon how the DB plays him. He has the initial plan of the pre-snap read of what he likes. As soon as he hits his release, as soon as he sees how the DB's playing him, whether the DB jumps outside or inside, or maybe he backpedals, there goes the idea for the second release. And then as he gets his, other release, as he, maybe he stacks them and he's working vertical with them, what is the third plan that he's going to do now based upon what the DB does? So there can be a lot of anxiety with it, because you do have to have maybe 3 different plans in mind based upon what the guy across from you is doing. But you also got to remember that the DB is playing a reaction game off of you. You control everything that's going on. So it sucks to know that if you didn't get the ball or you didn't catch the ball, it is 100% on you. But the great part about the opposite side of that coin is that, okay, it is all on me. I'm able to watch this whole route back again on film and see where did I mess up. Because as much as a DB wants to sit there and say like, oh yeah, I locked you up and everything, you locked me up because I allowed it, because I didn't get open, because I didn't have that second or third plan in mind based upon what you did at the line of scrimmage. So that's the biggest thing to go with it, is you can realize in that moment of time after you get done running that route, what did you do wrong?
That's a really great way to think about it. I didn't even think about like, I allowed you to beat me. I allowed you to clamp me up. Like I didn't even, that's a totally different way to think about it. Totally different way. That's pretty neat. Also, you guys sent me a link to that video how Devontae Adams broke that down, because like I don't ever think about having 3 plans. You just kind of like one plan and it doesn't work, I kind of just quit.
Yeah.
Or just panic.
Yeah, cannot panic. No, we cannot panic. Can't show panic at all on our faces.
It'll come with time and experience.
Yeah.
Did you run the spread in high school? Or
yeah, we were more of a spread offense.
Yeah.
We aired that thing out.
Yeah, I ran 3 routes in high school, like an out route, a post, a slant, and occasionally a screen as well. But most of the time I was blocking for screens because we ran the wishbone and like a little bit of wing tee. So this is like my second year in the spread offense at the best Division III program in the country. So it's a little hard.
Yeah, it is. It's a big change, because I couldn't imagine playing in a wing tee type of offense. I think the only team that we've played that I've seen was Salisbury this previous year, and
I'll see about transferring there.
Okay. So while being down on scout team for that and having to show a look for the defense on how to run that type of offense, it was definitely different than what I was used to. I would definitely say I prefer the spread offense a lot more. I like airing the ball out.
See, I used to have this joke on running backs. I said I like to feel their wind off my butt. Like I used to block for them, and like it was a satisfying feeling knowing they ran past me because I had a good block.
Good block.
Yeah, that was something I always used to mess around with my guys back in high school. I do miss it, just because I miss putting DBs and linebackers in the dirt, because I was pretty good at that. But it's all good. We'll move on. Keep growing. Keep learning.
Yeah.
All right, so we will switch topics here. Kind of get to know more about my boy Jose. So, did you experience any like culture shock when moving from place to place, and you're like, just dang, this is different, because you moved around from state to state, and then also coming to Mount Union, and then now your family lives in the UK. So like what's the culture shock like going from place to place to place?
I would say after a while, it started to become something that was just natural. Probably early on. So a little bit of background. I was born in Montana. Both me, my mom, my brother, all born in the same place. So I was born in Montana. Then once my mom joined the military, me, my brother, and my dad, we moved to New Jersey to live back again with her. Once we moved to New Jersey, I wouldn't say maybe the culture shock hit just yet because I was still with my family. Then my parents split up, and then it was just me, my mom, my brother, and kind of got to get close with a lot of different people that we were living with there, like on the base. I would definitely say that was a happier time in my life. You know, you're just a kid playing outside with friends. It was a really fun time. And then once we moved from New Jersey to North Carolina, I think that's where it hit me because definitely the North and South are a little bit different. Definitely picked up on a couple of things. Definitely picked up on a lot of slang. Definitely picked up on just things were a little bit different down there. I think if I were to move back again somewhere, I'd probably move back down to the South, mainly for the weather. This Ohio weather is crazy. It's snowing the first day of November. We just got done with Halloween, and it snows first day in November. So I would say that maybe the culture shock didn't hit me so much. I think it was more of just learning I guess a different way of just people thought. And my mom did a very good job of teaching me that there are many different types of people even within the own state that we, you know, lived in. So I understood very early on, and obviously me being, you know, a light-skinned kid, I understand that I come from two different places. I come from both a white family on my mom's side, and I come from a black Hispanic dad, a black Hispanic side from my dad's side. So I was able to I think that plays a part in it too. That I'm more than just kind of just one thing. I'm the total sum.
Diverse.
Yeah, you know, diverse. Exactly. I'm diverse. So I realize that everybody, just beyond skin color as well, and exactly where we're at, everybody is different within that as well. Like I've met white guys that are a little bit more, maybe has a little bit more money. Maybe white guys are a little bit more nerdy. Even met some white guys that are a little bit more ghetto. I met some black guys that are a little bit more nerdy. Some black guys that maybe have been a little bit more well off, and a little bit, you know, maybe some black people that have been more in the ghetto. So it's been beneficial to move around, I would say, and see all those different, you know, meet all these different type of people, and, you know, get a read on a couple of different areas. So it's been nice. I would say I'm more appreciative of it than seeing it as something that that was like a shock to me.
Where do I fit in those categories?
Where do you fit in those categories? I would say probably the white guy that's a little bit more nerdy. But also I would say that you're somebody who knows that you know where your place is at within society as well. But with that, you also know that you can break that barrier. A lot of people get stuck with where they're at and don't see a way out of it. All this that you got going on, I definitely see a way out. It shows a different level to you, because you could be the way that you are on the football field. One way is probably completely different from maybe how you are with this podcast or other different facets of your life. I only know you, you know, through the football field and maybe what we're doing right now. There are probably a couple other facets about you that I don't know just yet. So I guess
There's a lot.
There's a lot. That's why we're doing this right now. And that's why we're doing this back and forth, learn a little bit more about each other. So
yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. I just can't get white and nerdy. Okay,
you
cool.
know.
I mean, I'd say like white and a student. Like I'd say, like,
yeah, white. You are a very good student.
Yeah, I like
it might just be the glasses. There you go. You be Superman for a second. You take the glasses off.
Yeah, that's
Clark
pretty cool.
Kent.
It's actually really fun. I got called that in junior high school all the time.
Clark Kent.
Yeah, and Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Depending on the glasses. But, dang, man. Dang. So, all right, next question. How did that impact your relationships and friendships when moving around so much? Like, just like those long term, because like my best friend I met in kindergarten. So it's like, do you feel like you have any like long term reliable friends from like any of those areas? Like, how did that really affect like your relationships moving around?
I've always been the type of person, and this is something that maybe I would want to fix later down in life, just get a little bit better of reaching out to other people first. But I'm the type of person who kind of loves from afar or wishes nothing but the best from afar. I've just realized that I'm gonna, maybe it's just something I'm accustomed to. I realize that I'm gonna move on with certain parts of my life, and I have to deal with those parts in my life and everything that's going on. So I don't really have the time to maybe sit there and reach out to everybody else because I know that I want to have the same thing happen to me. Like I don't mind you wishing me the best from afar. We have social media for a reason. People will everybody's putting on the best for social media anyway, so I'm going to see the best of somebody else's life. If I see something that I want to comment on or say what's up to you, I'll do that. If you feel to do the same for me, you can do the same for me. But in every spot that I've been in, I would say there have been a couple of relationships that have been kept tight over time. And I know there's a couple of kids back from when I was living back in New Jersey when we were real young. I got the opportunity to see one of them maybe a couple of summers back when I was down in Florida. Got to see him and his family, and that was very nice. That was very relieving to see that they're all doing so well for themselves. So we caught up a little bit, and I would say maybe our relationship, picked back up from there after being away for so long. But definitely I have a real tight group of friends back from North Carolina where I went to high school at. I became friends with them like my sophomore year, and I just ran with them ever since. And they weren't necessarily all guys that were on the football team. One of them I played football with. The other two, they were very supportive of us playing sports. But we were the type, we just wanted to stay and sleep over at each other's houses. We just wanted to play video games. We wanted to talk about
women,
anime. I mean, obviously we're young men.
Anime.
It
oh
is
my
what it is.
goodness.
A couple other things. That's the nerdy side to me. There you go. You got that a little bit. But yeah. So those are my tight knit group of guys, and I would say, yeah, I'd still to this day I still talk to them. So, I don't have too many friends, and that's something that I expect. I don't expect to be friends with everybody, and I don't expect to keep super long lasting friendships with everybody. But I will have a couple from the spots that I've been to that I cherish. So,
okay, that's actually, I wasn't expecting the answer like at all, because like I just couldn't imagine like not having my best friend Chris, like because he's been someone I call probably every day to be like, hey, I'm doing really good, or hey, I'm doing really bad, or hey, I need some advice, or do you need anything? Like my best friend Chris is just like my ride or die. So, I mean, everybody's different. So
everybody is different, and I feel like as my mindset has changed with me growing older, I feel like some of the relationships that I formed here in college might transition into a relationship like you have with your best friend, like with my roommate. Randy, I've been roommates with him ever since freshman year. Funny story about it too. Like, it was random as to how we became roommates. Coach Miller here, he was the one that recruited the both of us. And for some odd reason, Randy's a kicker, by the way, for context. I'm a receiver. Randy as a kicker was in our wide receivers group chat like as freshmen. Don't know how he got into that group chat. He was just put into there, and I was maybe a couple of weeks away from moving in as a freshman, and I still didn't have a roommate. I reached out to everybody in the group chat, and Randy was the first one to speak up saying he didn't have a roommate. So I was like, I'm just going to run with it from there. And just ever since, like I could probably sit here and say that my dog Randy will probably be like the best man at my wedding type of person, like the type of relationship that me and him have built over the time of me being here. I'm very appreciative of, the friendship that we've been able to build. So I've been able to build one of those myself, so I'm very appreciative of it. That's my dog. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Dang.
Yeah. My heart hurts a little bit. I thought we were friends,
if he were to hear that, hopefully he'd probably end up saying the same thing. Because he definitely lived a different life than me. He's more like you, like stayed in one spot his whole life because he's from here in Ohio. He's from Columbus. I've moved around a whole lot. So
I thought he was like Nigerian or something.
He was. He'll get mad if you say that because he's Ghanaian. Him and Nigerians, yeah, they got beef.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, true beef. He might get upset about that one. They're jokes, but yeah, he was born in Ghana and then he moved here to the States when he was real young.
Is Is he like athletic and like he play other positions? Because like he looks like he could probably play receiver.
I mean, if I don't know about receiver, I don't know about receiver. That's my dog, so I'm gonna say something. I don't know if he's running routes or anything or catching the football like me, but put Randy at safety, have him coming down and hitting somebody, he's probably laying the wood.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's a bigger body.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
That's a big kicker.
You
I
seen
ain't
his
gonna lie.
quads? Oh my goodness, that man can boot it.
That's a big kicker right there.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, getting back on the topic of like you moving around and stuff, and I know you said you only played football your sophomore year, sophomore, junior, senior.
I started playing football as a freshman.
Oh, freshman. Okay.
Yeah, so all high school.
So like, how did moving around you think impact you athletically?
I think it allowed me to gain friendships through sport and be, really good with teamwork. I don't think there's that much of a difference of playing anything recreationally versus like for an actual school. Obviously, if you're playing for a school, it actually means something, like you're going to play for a championship or something of that nature. But I mean, still at the end of the day, we're all just kids. At least during that time frame, we're all just kids. We all just wanted to play a sport. But I think football coach is a little bit different depending on, where you're at. I mean, if you're down like in Florida or, down more in the South.
That's saying I can't see if my phone turned off, but it didn't turn off. So my fault, man.
No, you good.
I'll just cut it from where.
Yeah, you just gonna, cut it, edit that real quick. I got you.
All right.
I think depending on where you're at, maybe the culture is a little bit different with the sports, but I definitely know that it taught me teamwork pretty well, and I've always been told that I have some pretty decent leadership qualities. I hold myself to that kind of high standard, so I think I learned that as well from just getting to read on a bunch of different type of people and learning, different type of people just moving around. So I think teamwork was a big aspect of it, realizing that everybody has different viewpoints and everybody got to be heard.
That's like a different way to look at like teamwork, because I was gonna bring up like I'm such a team guy, and I love my brothers I'm on the field with, only on the field. That's a problem. I need to work on like also like spending time with my teammates off the field. I feel like as well, because I feel like that just to build that bond. But in terms of on the field, like I love my brothers, and I want to lay my life on the line. Like I'm gonna go smack a dude in the mouth. But like I just feel like if you're moving around, like you can't buy into like a team. You know what I'm saying? Like you can disagree obviously, but like I was a Red Devil, like Arlington Red Devil. I was part of that team. Like that was my team, and I'm at Mount Union. Like I'm a Purple Raider. Like I just can't imagine bouncing around and being like part of different teams, and like how that. I feel like you don't really get that full team feel. Like I'm whatever mascot you were.
And I think that I didn't have to feel that full effect because, like I said, I didn't actually start playing sports for an actual school until high school. Up until then, it was just rec. I mean, the part of rec is you're only playing it for that season, and you're probably only going to see those kids that you play with for that time frame anyways. Who knows if those kids will come back the next following season and want to play rec? Who knows, they'll probably be a part of a different team because everybody gets picked by different coaches for rec sports. Like you just get picked here and there, like during that season, like, oh, you get a name. Oh, I'm just going to grab that kid. If you see the same kid and you liked him from your team last year, you might grab him again. So, and I always thought, I was like, okay, maybe I could play like AAU because it goes recreational sports and then AAU, and then you got like actual for a school. So AAU is kind of in that middle framework where you actually get to be a part of a team with a coach that probably already knows you a little bit, and y'all are traveling and playing different sports. That was back when I played baseball for a little bit. You got AAU baseball. But I don't think I ever had to really feel the effect of that just because I was playing recreational sports. But no, I mean, best believe when I was playing in high school, we were the Buccaneers. Yeah, we were the Buccaneers. So I was a Buccaneer until the day I wasn't, and I was very appreciative of everybody that I played with. I love all those guys that I played with to this day, and I'm very appreciative of the coaching staff that I had.
Also, your unis went hard. The all-white unis, like those
yeah,
were
hard. and I just got to recently see some of the new uniforms that we got this year for my high school. We're sponsored by Next Trend now, so they had
Next Trend?
they got a whole Next Trend photo shoot. They gave them visors, a bunch of like the big old socks that scrunch up and gloves and everything. Yeah, man, they're decked out now.
That's so cool. So did you get your jersey then? Did you get to buy your jersey or anything?
Nah, I didn't go back and grab it. But something that they did do for some of us guys that have left and departed, football players wise, is they have a plaque now. I don't know exactly. I got to go back to the high school. Maybe this summer I'll go back and to see it and everything. But they got a plaque that has everybody's name on it that committed and got the opportunity to go play college football. I think they got our names like in silver or something. And then if you get the opportunity to play in the NFL, this previous year we had a guy, when I was a freshman, he was a senior. He got the opportunity. He was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs. I didn't really get to talk to him too much while we were in school together just because of like the age difference or whatever, but I knew that he was always good, lengthier corner too, really good. He won the Super Bowl this previous year as a rookie with the Chiefs, so I could only imagine how much, of an amazing experience that whole ride was, from the beginning of the season to the end. So once you get that opportunity to go to the league, they put your name in gold. So I think there's only ever been 2 players to ever go to the NFL from our high school. One way back when we first started. My school opened up in like 2001, and then now this guy who just went to the league.
That's like really cool though. Mm-hmm. That's like, does he follow you on Instagram or anything? Like, do you have like his number? Like, do you talk?
I follow him on Instagram. I
don't follow you back.
He might follow me back. I don't know.
So fact check that. I
didn't want to be one of those guys that like bandwagon. You know what I'm saying?
I know you do.
I didn't want to be one of those guys. But definitely seeing all of the success that he had, I was like, man, that must be an amazing experience, and I know he's having the time of his life. So, it's very nice to see that one of our very own was able to go and, accomplish the greatest achievement, in the NFL and winning that Super Bowl.
So are you next up then?
I would hope so. That's the dream if you play football. Yeah.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Okay, that was a good answer. Good discussion right there. So being a college football player, can you share some of the most memorable moments from your football career, and what valuable life lessons did you learn from playing the sport at this level?
My most favorite memory probably was most recent this season. I had my first varsity touchdown, the first touchdown that actually
house call
counted in the books. Jackson threw me, a little slant-ish type route from 72 yards out, caught the ball over top of the safety, beat the corner that was guarding me, and, house call. And and I think what was the most amazing part about it was not necessarily that I just scored and I got my first touchdown, but how excited the rest of the receivers and the rest of the team was for me as well, that I just, scored. I had a lot of guys that are in my class come and tell me even days after I scored that touchdown saying, how happy they were for me and, how excited they were for me in that moment to see me score a touchdown. Because, if you ask everybody, I'm giving my all every day at practice and every day in the game waiting for my opportunity. Whenever I may get one, and I'm going to put it all out there on the line for my team. I'm going to give 100% effort. So it was definitely a great moment for me to feel that everybody was as excited as I was for me to score that touchdown, and how it was. So, I had a great group of guys, in the receiver group. They all came and congratulated me, and then the rest of the guys all on the team too. So that's probably my greatest memory. I've learned a lot of lessons. I've gone through a lot of ups and downs. My biggest low was my sophomore year. I came in as a freshman here on a pretty big high. We didn't have an actual season my first year because it was 2020, so that was the COVID season. So we just had the 2020 like spring season where we played all the teams, or about 5 teams in the OAC. And they didn't really play any of us freshmen from my memory. We all kind of just gained the experience of what a game day experience was like and kind of what football was like in college a little bit. So coming off of the high, it was me and one other receiver, Smooth, from my memory, that were brought up to varsity. because we showed some pretty decent talent. So obviously, I mean, if you're brought up as a freshman, you're feeling pretty good about yourself, like, oh, they see something in me. And then I come my sophomore year, I don't have the best fall camp, and it drops me down to damn near like almost bottom of the depth chart. So as you can tell, going from being up here to damn near all the way down here, that does something to your mental, and it sent me into kind of a shock because it sent me back into kind of how I was beginning when I first started playing football. Like, okay, I'm not very good. I'm having to learn this all over again, and I'm back down to the low. So I would say that, yeah, it was tough having to go through that, but already going through that low that I was at starting to playing football when I was in high school, it prepared me for that moment of coming back down at the low and having to climb my way back up to the top. I already knew what it was like having to go through that whole process and learning how to be not just a football player, but a football player at the collegiate level, because it's a whole different ball game up here now. So definitely having to learn that it's a different type of mentality having to play within this new system. And the biggest thing for me, I think, throughout football, and I think just a lot of people deal with, and that was the big thing too, of having to play sports for a school, because you don't deal with it whenever you're playing like recreational sports. You don't deal with the politics. Everybody gets in, everybody gets a little bit of showtime, everybody gets a little bit of face. Having to play for a school, it's you have to wait your time. It's either you wait your time or you prove day in and day out why you deserve to have the spot where you're at. So having to learn that there are politics within the sport that you play sucks. And I think that's a lot of a reason why a lot of people end up stop playing the sport that they do, is because they don't want to deal with the politics of it anymore. Me, I love playing football. I love what it's done for me, and I love how much it keeps me in shape, most of all. And I also do like how it keeps me on a strict schedule. So I think that's a main reason why I stay with it as well, throughout all the politics. And I feel like I've gotten a good understanding of where I stand now, and I have some that I can do about it. So,
I mean, yeah, I mean, it really comes down to, I mean, for everybody, it's like you really got to love this sport. Like, you really got to, like, you can love football, but, like, everything that comes with it in terms of the baggage, the physically and mentally, it's like it's just a whole different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a job. It's so different.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I mean, you see a lot of guys, even, I mean, it's my second year here, and I've seen lots of guys already quit.
Yeah.
And, like, step away.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for my freshman class, we came in with almost 200 people. I would say we're probably around maybe 20 now. People left from my freshman class. So, I mean, that's something that you obviously will see at a Division III level, because obviously I don't think they turn anybody away. Everybody, they're gonna try to get as many people as they can.
That's why I'm here.
They're gonna try to get as many people as they can to come play for them. And whoever can't cut it, or people that just don't love it or don't want to play anymore, they'll step away from it. But yeah, it's a grind, man. Football, no joke in college. Football in college is no joke. It's no joke at all.
Yeah. Okay. So this is me like shouting you out, in just terms of your character. But last year you were a junior on JV and borderline varsity time. But instead of being negative about it, you took that time to better yourself and coach up underclassmen, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you reflect on last year in terms of character and growth?
It was probably some of my biggest growth, because obviously, as you're talking about with character wise, definitely a change in mindset. It was a big change of realizing, like I said, you got to understand there's the politics part about it. Like, okay, I got to just sit here and grind now at this point. I thought that last year during my junior year, I would have been able to come up with varsity a little bit more than what I originally, got. Originally what I planned on doing, or what I thought would be my season, and it wasn't. So I had to realize that, okay, I got to bust my butt a little bit more. So dealing with that, there's the mentality shift of saying, okay, this is all on me. You're a grown man. You got to do it all for yourself. And I think that's just something, as you grow up a little bit too, you'll realize that soon throughout your process here. not just at Mount, but in college as a growing, young man. And then when it comes to football, I had to realize that, okay, yeah, I'm over here on scout team, and a lot of people take it for granted because especially here from Mount, we're going up against one of the highest ranked defenses in all of Division III. I get to go up against those guys every single day. I mean, if you ask those guys that are over there starting now and even some guys that have left, I was over there giving my max effort every day, and maybe even some instances I was maybe making them better because of already some of the fundamental skills that I had and some things that I was already good at. So I took pride in that, knowing that, yeah, they're making me better, but I also have the potential to make them better too. So yeah, I think it goes into of when you're hearing that all the time, it makes you work a little bit harder. It makes you want to work a little bit harder. But that's not the case for everybody. Some people will go down there on scout team, especially when the weather starts to get a little bit cold. You've started to see it. Weather gets a little bit cold. People don't want to show up to practice no more. Some people can't handle the cold weather.
No.
Can't handle it at all. I don't even like it that much myself. But there comes to a point in time where you start to realize, man, like I'm taking this opportunity to the fullest, and I'm not going to take it for granted. And these guys are going to help make me better. And I'm in the mentality where I'm at now is if they give me the opportunity on Saturdays, I can beat anybody lined up, across from me. And I watch film just like everybody else. I'm watching, especially special teams, now too, what I got to do on that. This is my first time really playing special teams at the amount that I am. I didn't really play special teams too much when I was in high school. So having to learn that as well here for the first time in college is a big shock as well, to kind of my play style and the things that I have to do. It's forcing me to tackle a whole lot more than what I was used to. I was never used to tackling a whole lot, so now that I get the opportunity to put hands on somebody more, it's fun. I like it a whole lot. But I definitely took my opportunities when they were given to me, and I enjoyed scout team when I was down there, and I think that's a big thing that was preached to us hard while we were down there on scout team with guys that were leaders such as like DJ Harvey, that were here a little bit ago. Wayne, tells us that as well. There are a lot of examples before me of guys that were down on scout that got brought up because of the amount of work that they put in. So
that honestly, there's so many things I want to say about your answer, but like one for me is just like I'm glad to see the success you're having, even only knowing you for one full season, I guess, and seeing you during spring ball. It's like I'm so glad to see you get the varsity time I think you deserve, because there was like 2 or 3 games there where you truly had really good games on JV, and I was like, what is this man doing down here with us? But also I appreciate you being in my corner, because like I asked you so many questions. But also I do agree with you that like we're going against the best guys in D3. Like I don't know if I should name drop, but the 2 starting corners last year, one of them was like really cool, and I actually ended up mossing him, and it was really cool, and like he was so chill about it, and like he always trying to coach me up. It's like, hey, this is what you can do against me. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can do this better on this play, and like because I also think that guy, he also watched a lot of film because he always kind of knew what I was doing. Yeah. And the guy that's still here on the other side of the field, he was just clowning on me. He was also the guy that broke my finger. We're not gonna get into that though. He
got you good.
Yeah, but like he was someone that just got in my head. I was like, man, I hate that guy. Like, but like it was cool to go against the 2 different guys, and then also like have you in my corner to do that. So, but also during fall camp, like I can't do the Wild Wild West no more. It was such a headache being on the Wild Wild West. But we call like the Wild Wild West basically like the freshman work doing a scout team, and like because like there's no organization down there. It's kind of people just hopping in, and it's like hard to get reps. It's like, and you're constantly bickering with your teammates, and it's just not a good time. Yeah, but that's really all I have to say about that. So what are your aspirations and goals with your football career after this season and having the opportunity to 5th year? Do you have that thought out yet?
I know. I believe as of right now, I want to continue playing football and use that 5th year. Just use it for as long as I want to. I recently talked with my high school coach, my receivers coach, back from high school, obviously. And he said he wanted me to come down. He asked me how much more years of eligibility I had, and I let him know I had 1 more. And he wanted me to come down and train with him one more time and, get a feel for where I was at and kind of, get me to the highest level that I could before my last year. So, I think I'm going to seize that opportunity and just continue to go from there. My aspirations, I won't say everybody that plays football, their dream is to go to the NFL, but I mean, if you're playing a sport and you have the opportunity to have a next level of the sport that you play, you kind of want to see how far you can go. And I think that's always been my thing with football. I just want to see how far I can go. I want to see how far I can take this thing. I know I have the ability to do so, even if it were to be a longer route of saying maybe going like, I don't know, playing something like a semi-pro or like a XFL, whatever. And if it turns out that I can't get any higher than this level, then that's all that God had intended for me. But I'm very grateful every day that I get to continue to wake up and pursue this passion that I have for football. So I won't sit here and say that my dream is to play in the NFL. My dream is to constantly pursue a better version of myself than I was yesterday. And that if God has in store for me to give me the opportunity to go to the next level, then I'm going to take it and I'm going to use that confidence and I'm going to go up against anybody that lines up against me and I'm going to give them hell.
Dang right. Okay. Yeah. Are you interested in like playing overseas? Like there's like pro teams overseas. There's the Canadian League, obviously. There's teams in Mexico. For me, I'm considering those, but like also if I get YouTube and podcasting going, I'll probably just play semi-pro and then just use this to like fund that. That's kind of like what I was thinking. But like, so like, what do you think about that? Like, use it just any level to earn money, any level like to like what's your thoughts?
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever given international play a big thought. There are obviously a couple of different factors for me in life that I have going for myself. Obviously, you said in a little bit we'll be talking about the DJing thing that I got going on. I love music. That's something. I mean, I go to school here for media, so kind of want to tie that into my life. I definitely know there will be a certain point in time in my life where football will no longer be a thing. I don't know when that's going to be. And I definitely want to continue to pursue what I have going on with music. So kind of just whatever is the best for me at that time is what I'm going to run with. So I've always been the type of person, though, to just next day type of person or like in that moment type of person. I don't think too far into the future. I don't try to think too much about the past because I'll just sit here and I'll overthink things. So I'm kind of just an in the moment type of person. Whatever happens tomorrow is what happens tomorrow. Yeah.
It's a good mentality. I'm an overthinker. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm always stressing. Well, you said DJing, so we're going to get into it. How did you get into DJing, and what inspired you to like pursue this hobby? Are there any unique experiences you've experienced already as a DJ?
So I would say I think it was the Christmas of my sophomore year here is when I asked my mom for a DJ board. I don't know what made me ask her to get that for me. I think it was maybe just like a interest in that moment to see like, let's just try it. I think what a factor of that is too is like when I was here as a freshman and I was going out to parties, we had two DJs that would DJ some parties. One guy was named Tanner. He did a little bit more of like the house rave, European uns type of music. Not necessarily the type that I enjoy listening to, but I mean everybody else seems to like it. I know it's popular in that part of the world like the UK. And definitely different spots here in the U.S. as well. But the guy that I liked and enjoyed listening to, obviously because it's the type of music that I listen to, a little bit more rap, R&B, with a mix of some other things, with some like house music. His name was Cadell. And I would, ask him a couple of times, like, how he got into it, if he had fun doing it. And he was like, yeah, man. He was like, if it's something that you want to do, just give it a try. And so I kind of just went from there. So I want to say they graduated after my freshman year. If not, Cadell graduated my sophomore year, but nobody really started DJing parties anymore my sophomore year. So we kind of were just left on this campus of parties being somebody just being on their phone from Ox. And that's just a little boring. If I'm being honest, that's just a little boring. I mean, anybody could do that. So I just said to my mom, I was like, I want to get a DJ board and potentially do that, for here. I wish I would have actually started DJing parties maybe a little bit sooner. I started DJing, I would say I thought I started it the spring semester of last year. I guess I started doing it during the fall as well last year. I don't remember doing it that early, but yeah, so I started DJing last year, a couple of house parties, mainly just for one house in particular, like for the football guys, and they would allow me to do that. And in the beginning, whenever you start doing something, you're going to have some people that doubt you. You're going to have some haters. You're going to have some people that are like, hey, who put this guy on Ox? And it's just because, I'm first learning how to do it, so it might sound like I'm just on Ox. I got to learn the different things like transitions and things of that nature. But the point that I'm at now, man, I just love doing it. I love being there for people on this campus that maybe don't have somebody playing the type of music that they want to listen to all the time at parties. So I'm glad that I'm able, and that was my main goal. I'm glad I'm able to be that person on this campus now that is able to play music for the support group that I have now for the people that come and listen to me.
Like, do you feel like you've bettered yourself since the critics? Or do you still have critics?
I still definitely do have some critics. I think they're more behind the screen now than they are necessarily more like to my face. It's definitely all behind the screen now, but they're always going to be there. I mean, if you're not doing something, that's the wrong saying. If you don't got haters, you're not doing it right.
There we go.
If you don't got haters, you're not doing it right. So
and they're probably still coming to the parties.
They're probably still coming to the parties. They're still having a good time listening to it, and they'll say whatever they want to say. Mm-hmm. But, man, like my focus isn't even on them. My focus is all on the people that enjoy listening to what I put out. A bunch of people don't even know my first name on this campus, especially freshmen. Everybody knows me as DJ No Way. And that I think has been the funniest and like most eye-opening part of all of this is that people know me as a certain persona, and I just run with it. And so it's kind of cool to have that other side of me, and have that kind of nightlife type of deal, and people know me through that way. And so it's a nice little outlet.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I kind of relate to that too. With like, I was called Foltzy back home.
Uh-huh.
But like, I feel like a lot of people either just call me Caleb or CF3 here, so it just feels like I have a whole different life up here. Because I go home and everybody calls me Foltzy, and then I come back here, everybody's like CF3 or Caleb. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So that's actually really funny. So like, would freshmen call you DJ No Way?
Yeah, people will come up to me and just be like, No Way, or be like DJ No Way, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, it is. I won't sit here and say it's annoying because that's what they know me as. I won't sit here and say it's annoying, but it's definitely like, okay, maybe I should tell them my name's Jose. maybe I should tell them what my actual name is, because it's like in a public setting, I don't need to be called like No Way. Yeah. I don't know. That's just my thing. But it is eye opening, and it's good to see that I'm able to do that for people.
Awesome. Yeah. So I still haven't heard you DJ. I got.
You don't come out to the parties, man. Yeah, you got to come out, man. You got to show face,
bro. I be studying.
It is. You're studious. I understand. Yeah. We all got to stay that way.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. So college football is a highly competitive and demanding sport.
Yeah.
So how did you balance your athletic and academic commitments with other aspects of your life, such as academics and DJing?
Mm-hmm. So I would definitely say it's been the biggest back and forth of that balance this year than it has ever been, because I'm really starting to take DJing serious now, and with me getting a whole lot more playing time in football too, it's all just now starting to hit me. I'm definitely using a lot more of my academic resources that are available to me throughout here on this campus, and I've done a better job of reaching out and asking for help from not just professors but other people around here on this campus, such as faculty, and getting in those study hours. So really all it is just it's time management. That's something that I would preach to a lot of not just student athletes. It's very important for student athletes, but just people that are transitioning here to college in general. Like, you have to learn very early on a system that works best for you, and learn how to manage your time. For me, probably the best spot for me to do homework is not in my house, because I'll get distracted very easily. I'll turn on the TV or turn on my phone or something, and just get distracted that way. So I have to go to different settings, whether it's here in the library or in our new diversity center where there are different study rooms, just finding a different place here on this campus, wherever you may be, to go do that schoolwork that you need to get done and actually sit down, turn the phone upside down, maybe even leave it in your book bag, and really focus on doing that schoolwork. Yeah.
So do you have any advice for people that are pursuing multiple passions and but also gotta take their work seriously, and how to stay motivated, stay adaptable?
It's very easy to it's very easy once you start something new to transition all your focus onto just that. I think that's a big thing for student athletes too. There are some people on this campus that are nursing majors and playing sports, and that I think is one of the hardest things to balance. Being a nursing major alone with all the work that they have to do in clinicals and things of that nature. I have a couple of friends that are nursing majors, and it's very difficult for them. So it's sometimes it does come down to a choice. What is more important to you? Is it the academics or is it your sport? And if it's your sport, you got to go reach out to those other resources that are available to you and, gain their help from it. And if your focus is just the academics, then maybe you have to stop playing sports. Sorry, to just focus on that a little bit. But when it comes to those different passions, I would say pursue them. That was another little thing that I had to learn as well, and that's I think a main reason why I love doing DJing is because it allows a different aspect to me. It adds a little bit more to that little mixing pot, that is a part of my identity and character. I'm more than just a student athlete. I've been a student athlete for a while, but now I'm a student athlete / DJ at night.
It's like Batman.
It's like Batman. You know what I'm saying? I got that secret identity. It's like Batman. So I definitely would say to anybody, if you can find that other little outlet that allows you to be a different person, even just for a little bit, it teaches you to not just pursue a new passion, but also it teaches you what it was like grinding all over again. It shows you that if you want to get good at something or you enjoy doing something, there's time and effort, that plays a part in that.
And people ask me all the time, it's how do I do YouTube and podcasting while trying to be a football player and do school? And it's just because I want to.
Yeah.
It's if
that's
a
big part of it
have
too.
The want. And also just part of me sometimes, especially being hurt right now, because getting hurt is a whole nother battle. But I've honestly I don't say lost my love for football, but I really just have the desire to learn the game and coach right now. That's what I'm so excited for. I'm actually taking 2 coaching classes this spring. I'm so excited. I'm not even thinking about spring ball or anything like that. 'Cause I know that's when I'll be able to finally play again. But I also kind of need football to be a coach and also do this YouTube thing, because I feel like my viewers come from my football vlogs and come from my football background. But I wouldn't say completely lost the love. It's just more I'm so excited for this YouTube channel and this podcast to get going, and I just love being a student. I am a nerd. I'm not gonna. I'm a nerd.
See, you admitting it. You admitting it. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah. Everybody got a little bit in them. So, but what plays a part in that is I don't feel like you say you've fully lost the love for football, because obviously it's still there in the coaching aspect. Just now it's through a different route. It's through a different tunnel. It might not be playing it. It might be coaching it. But that's something you got to find out for yourself, what really matters the most. Something my high school head coach told us is that the best players will play, and they'll go on to keep playing. The guys that can play will play. The guys that can't play will coach. And he said that was very true for him, and he had to learn that. And that's once he said that was something that I had to think in my mind, and I was like, man, can I play? Yeah, I can play. I don't want to coach. I was like, I want to play. I want to play. I don't want to coach. I want to play. That's what I want to do. So
even Mike Tomlin, I think Mike Tomlin played did you see this video? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
He played HBCU or something like that, and he was so frustrated with that he couldn't be the player that he wanted to be.
Yep.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I became. I mean, he's still the head coach for the Steelers, right? So like, it just I watched that whole podcast, and it was definitely just it was like definitely something that's gonna be stored in my brain rent free from now on. Like, it like I definitely feel that way. It's like I don't think I'm ever gonna be the player that I really want to be, but I can find an avenue to keep pursuing the things that I love. Not saying I'm quitting on myself. I'm gonna keep working to better myself each and every day. And who knows, I might practice during spring ball and be like, oh my goodness, I missed this. But like, as of right now, it's like I'm just gonna keep like just find things I do to love, like do that I love. Can't talk. But just keep pursuing hobbies, keep pursuing passions, and whatever feels right in my heart. But that Mike Tomlin clip's always gonna stick with me.
Yeah, always find something that's going to re-spark that love for whatever you got going on, or find something that's going to end up being a new love. That was something that I had to learn, especially last year and this year with the DJing thing. It's allowed me to open my eyes to a new way of living, a new way of thinking. So it's been great.
That's really good. All right, so before we end off, we got one last question.
Yeah.
Can you share any future goals for yourself, just for life in general? Like, what's Jose's game plan after graduation? DJing, football, life. Give us something, Jose. He's blank. He's blank, gentlemen.
A little bit. I do got one thing. Not to, air out my own laundry, but the biggest thing that I think has been an aspect of my life is coming from a single-parent household, majority of it. That's always been something that I think I've been a little bit, I would say maybe a little bit envious of other people, seeing them have two parents and kind of thinking what that life would have been like if my parents would have stayed together. So I think something that I want to do and what I strive to do is I want to, however long it may take, whenever it may be, I want to be there for my family, and I want to keep my family together. And I want to be the best family man that I can. I want to learn how to be the best man that I can to show that for my kids, especially if I have a son, and just be the best example that I can of a godly man who thanks the Lord for every moment, every day, every blessing, every opportunity, and shows that I'm thankful for that. And I want to continue to further my relationship in Christ, and I want to continue to walk down that path with him. I think that's a goal of mine as of right now, and I think that's something that's achievable.
That's really wholesome.
Yeah.
I relate to that 100%. I was raised by my mom, my older sister, and I'm definitely a big family person as well. And my girlfriend's also a big family person, so it's like really cool to be with somebody that's like that as well. But yeah, family's super important. Family, football team, family, at your little DJ party houses. Like if you have family there as well,
I can do the family functions. All that.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. So yeah, but that is a great way to end this podcast. Do you have any closing remarks or anything you want to shout out? Any social medias, anything like that? Anything you want to say?
We're shouting out the social medias. Go follow dj.no_way on IG. Go support the DJ page. I'm going to let y'all know in the upcoming semester where all the parties going to be at. We're going to be big time. It's no longer just going to be house parties no more. And then from there, you can find my personal page. Just keep loving each other, man. Keep spreading love, no hate. Keep wanting to better yourself. Keep wanting to better others. And tell your mama you love her. That's how I'm going to end.
I really love that. Listen to this man. He's a smart guy.
I'm a smart guy.
Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out bench_2_Mike on Instagram. Also, you can check me out, Caleb_Foltz, or _CF3_ on different social medias. Thank you boys for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Banger.